Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem El Shai Bashem Rakakodah. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle this video, "And in the days of these kings." This is from Daniel 20 verse 44. And by the way, if you don't know me, I'm Apostle Tahar, aka the Prophet of Doom. And I'm going to remember to keep saying that when I give my name and my title. One of my titles, my new title, I've been had this title, is the Prophet of Doom. That's a title right there. That's not a name, but it is a name too. It's a nickname, whatever you want to call it. So I must remember that when I introduce myself, I will most likely start, if I remember, remind me, y'all, Tahar, Apostle Tahar, aka the Prophet of Doom. And I work with other people that are also prophets of doom. The men, the elect of GMS, ultimately the elect, are all prophets of doom. So you all have that title. You might be priest this, or captain that, or bishop this, but you got a new title, the Prophet of Doom. We've been gathered together for one reason: to usher in the destruction by telling the people. Okay? So now I'm going to read the 44th verse. Matter of fact, I was watching this video put up by GMS Inquire Early 2. And he opened it up with let me get it right here. Where the hell? Well, this was just put up. So anyway, the name of the video is, and you should subscribe to this page. Yes, we are prophets of doom. And that's what we're here for. The main thing that we're speaking about is we're telling the people that the Israelites, and the sifting process is taking place as to who are the elect of Israel. And we're telling the other nations who they are. The Moabites, the Ammonites. They don't know who they are. You got to tell them who they are. The Edomites. Edomites know that they're Edomites. And you know how I know that they know that they're the Edomites? Because they're saying, oh, the Edomites are done away with, or I'm not an Edomite. Anyway, it says here, and he said this some years ago. He said, if this is an actual picture of him saying it, or this is a recent picture, this is at the WEF, the World Economic Forum, in Davos, Switzerland. So this is a quote from Donald Trump: "To embrace the possibilities of tomorrow, which is their future, their inward daughters, that their houses shall continue forever. We must reject the perennial prophets of doom." Now, he didn't say what he was talking about. We took that on ourselves. We took credit for that. I guess he's talking about us. Because the prophet of doom prophesies of complete and utter destruction. And their predictions, which are prophecies of apocalypse. We make predictions of apocalypse. Now I want to look up the word perennial. Let me see something. PERENNIAL. So I'm going to go to the Google. Okay, here it is. Lasting or existing for a long or apparently infinite time, enduring or continuing, recurring. Let me read that again. Well, it says everlasting, similar, or what is it? Synonyms. Everlasting, perpetual, eternal, continuing, unending, never ending. Where did I go to? Lasting or existing for a long or apparently infinite time. So when he calls us the perennial prophets, he's saying that these prophets are they're never gonna die, and we're not gonna die in the kingdom. We are never gonna die. But he said, like I said, we must reject the perennial, the everlasting prophets of doom and their predictions, their prophecies of apocalypse. One thing that the Christians don't challenge us on is the prophecies, because they don't know the prophecies. They never go into prophecies. We the only ones that's been blessed to understand these prophecies. There's certain Edomite scholars that think they know sometimes they hit or miss. But anyway, let me do this here. So we're thinking about. We've been doing videos on it based upon what Chief Priest Alizar, that's his title, and he can have that title. All right. He said that somebody asked him on the interview about when is the end going to come, and he pretty much said, jump to the chase. It can happen between now and 1,000 years. So I said, well, wait a minute. I was thinking about Daniel 2, starting from the 40th verse. What time of the prophecy are we in Daniel 2? We're not in the 40th verse. This is talking about the Roman Empire 2,000 years ago. That's your 2 days. From the beginning of the Roman Empire until now, that's 2 days. And now we're in this part. So we can start from here. And whereas thou, where are we timeline-wise in prophecy? We're right here. Some of them Edomite scholars will tell you that. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, which is the Roman Empire, so the Most High allowed Daniel, but this was given to Nebuchadnezzar, but Daniel broke it down. He interpreted it and broke it down. So this is Daniel telling the king of Babylon what this all means. Because he forgot what the dream was. He said, you had a dream about this, and I'm going to tell you what it means. And that's why the king at that time put Daniel in a prominent position. Remember, he was one of the presidents. So this right here, he's talking about the Roman Empire. He said there's going to be an empire, which is the fourth kingdom. That's the Roman Empire, 2,000 years ago. This is NATO and the EU, which is the spirit of the Roman Empire coming back. So we're in this time. We're in Daniel. We're experiencing Daniel 2, verse 41. Let me read it. And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay. Did it say potter's clay over here? It said iron. So this was a fortified, strong empire. This is a broken down empire. And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. The kingdom shall be divided. Now you're talking about Zelensky wanting to be a part of NATO. Trump doesn't want him to be a part of NATO. Biden didn't want him to be a part of NATO because if he was a member of NATO, they would have to enter that war. It would be Third World War. Even Biden said that in the beginning of the war. He said, "Are you going to enter in troops?" He said, "No, because that would be World War III." So he said something intelligent at that time. Now, when you look at a map of the NATO nations, and I got to do that, I'm not going to do it on this video, but when you watch certain videos, alternative news videos, the NATO nations are strategically set to partially surround, or come in alignment, so they can aim themselves at Russia, because they know they're going to go to a war. That's what NATO was put together for. But ultimately, the NATO nations are going to possess missiles, going to shoot missiles on America. Remember, it said they had power with the beast 1 hour. When you go with a day with the Most High is 1,000 years. So what is the hour to the Most High? 42 years. 42 years and change. When did NATO, and I said this before, sounding like a broken record, but I have to go through it. The NATO nations was set up about 10 years before the EU nations. The NATO nations were set up in it was 1949, but it was in the making a few years before that. They officially became, the NATO alliance, because that was after World War II, and they pulled that alliance together in case Russia, not any other nation, but Russia attacked any of those nations. To attack one is to attack all. And that's why Zelensky wanted so bad to be a part of the NATO alliance, because if he was, then the U.S. would have to be involved. But that would be a premature a World War III. So it says, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with clay. So you had weak nations militarily and economically. That's why you had a couple of years ago Brexit, where the British broke off, and they broke off because of economic reasons. They had to give stimuluses to these poorer EU nations. So when we read this, we're talking about NATO and the EU. And as the toes of the feet, which represents the EU, but overall, this is talking about NATO too, were part iron and part clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly weak. During the time of the Roman Empire, it wasn't partly strong and partly weak. It was strong. So remember, this prophecy is happening right before our eyes. That's why you keep your eyes on the news when it speaks about Russia, when it speaks about NATO, when it speaks about Iran, when it speaks about the U.S. sending military forces to the Middle East. That's Revelation. I always go on that, Revelation 20. It says, and then every kingdom before that, when the Babylonians went down, they went down by the Medo-Persian Empire, which there was no lapse in time. The Babylonians ruled for 70 years. Medo-Persians came in, took that down. You look up the Medo-Persians, their rulership. All you got to do is go to Google. There was a lapse of time. So let's say I believe that's five. Let's round it off to 500 A.D. That's when the Persians won power. So when did the Greeks take over the Persians? It was in the 300s, right? The early 300s. So we're talking about the Persian Mede Empire ruled for rounded off to about 200 years, right? The Greeks ruled for some times from 300 to about 150 BC, because I'm sorry, not 150. we're talking about 50, 60 years BC. So their rulership was for 200 some odd years. And then the Romans came into power. Right? When you look up the average lifespan of an empire, you look it up, it says 250 years. America's is exactly 249 years. 2026, that's 250 years. So for this man to go another 1,000 years, that means America will be around another 1,000 years. America ain't gonna be around. America's crumbling, man. The NATO nation, the EU nation can't stand America. So you think everything is gonna warm over? You know, and we're gonna be good for that? This man ain't going for the truth. The truth is out there, man. It says, but there shall be in it the strength of the iron, for much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes and the feet were part iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, that's talking about now, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another. They're gonna try to work it out, come together, but things ain't gonna work out. Even as iron is not mixed with clay. So this is the divided system, and it's not just America. And America is divided, the divine kingdom. So from this time now, we're in it right now. This is happening right now. So you mean to tell me it's going to take 1,000 years before the Lord come back? No, he's getting ready to come back soon. We know he's getting ready to come back soon because this is the last part of that standing image. And in the days of these kings shall the Most High of heaven set up a kingdom. How is he setting up the kingdom? I always say that. Ezekiel 37. He got the men, the prophets, waking up and prophesying to the people. At midnight there was a cry made, Matthew 25, which shall never be destroyed. So we're not going to wait another 1,000 years for the Lord to come back and destroy this place. He's coming to destroy this place now. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Now, why would the Most High say, I'm going to let y'all deal, I'm going to let Esau be over you for another 1,000 years? Does that make sense? For as much as thou sawest that the stone, which represents Yahushua, was cut out of the mountain, that's what Ezra saw, without hands, divine intervention, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, and the great God have made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation is sure. So what Daniel showed the king, Nebuchadnezzar, he showed him his kingdom, and he showed him Esau's kingdom. He showed him Babylon. He saw the destruction too. So there's no way in hell, if you're in the prophecies, there's no way in hell you would make a statement, oh, we can be here for the next, we ain't gonna be here for no next 1,000 years. We ain't gonna be here for no 500 years. We ain't gonna be here for no 100 years. We ain't gonna be here for no 50 years. Could we be here for another 10 years? It's possible, but I doubt it. It's too hot out there, man. Plus you got Donald Trump up in there. He gonna stir shit up. My belief is that this, if I see 2027, I'm gonna be shocked if I'm still here in 2027. But guess what? You got to deal with it. But we ain't gonna be here and get old and die. This brother's gonna die. That brother's gonna die, and we are not finally die. Then you have sons, and then they're gonna come and they're gonna teach, and then they're gonna die. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I wouldn't have answered it that way. Well, when you think the end of the world? Well, I hope the scriptures say hasten the day, right? So in my estimation of knowing these scriptures for X amount of years, I would say we got another year, year and a half maybe. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. With that, I'm going to say shalom, on to the next shalom.